What it would be like if you were Cleopatra. Egypt is dying. The air smells like incense and smoke. Somewhere beyond the palace walls, people are already fighting in the streets of Alexandria. You haven't slept properly in days. Rome watches Egypt like a starving wolf. Your advisors whisper behind closed doors. Your own family wants you dead. And tomorrow, you may either become queen of Egypt or disappear from history entirely. You stand alone on the palace balcony overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. The greatest kingdom on earth is collapsing, and your name is Cleopatra. Chapter 1. Child of the Nile. You awaken before sunrise to the sound of temple bells echoing across Alexandria. The city is unlike any place on earth. Greek scholars debate philosophy in crowded streets. Egyptian priests carry golden statues through incense-filled temples. Roman merchants unload wine and silver from distant ports. Everything smells alive. Salt from the harbor, smoke from kitchens, perfume from nobles, sweat from soldiers under the morning sun. You were taught many languages as a child: Greek, Egyptian, Latin, Hebrew, Arabic. Unlike your ancestors, you speak directly to the Egyptian people instead of hiding behind translators. The citizens love that. Your family does not. Inside the royal palace, every meal feels dangerous. Every conversation is a test. Every smile hides a knife. Your father, Pharaoh Ptolemy XII, trusts almost no one. Rome controls Egypt financially now. Debts pile higher every year. Roman senators speak of Egypt as if it already belongs to them. Chapter 2. The Palace of Snakes. Inside the palace, nobody trusts anybody. Not servants, not advisors, not even family, especially family. Sometimes you don't even trust yourself. You and your younger brother are supposed to rule together after your father dies, but the moment he takes the throne, everything changes. His advisors turn him against you. Priests call you dangerous. Generals secretly swear loyalty elsewhere. One night, you overhear servants whispering outside your chamber. Your brother plans to remove you permanently. So before dawn, you flee the palace. No royal parade, no loyal army. Just horses moving through cold desert darkness while the wind throws sand against your face. Hours later, Alexandria disappears behind the horizon. You were born to rule Egypt. Now you sleep in tents beside mercenaries and refugees. And somewhere far away, Rome is marching closer and closer. Chapter 3. Julius Caesar arrives. News spreads across Egypt like wildfire. Pompey, one of Rome's most powerful men, has arrived seeking refuge. Your brother orders him executed. At first, the palace celebrates. Then everyone realizes the truth. They have just insulted Julius Caesar himself. Days later, Roman ships appear in Alexandria's harbor. The city falls silent. You watch thousands of Roman soldiers march through the streets in perfect formation, armor shining, sandals striking stone roads in unison. They look unstoppable. And at the center of them all, Julius Caesar, older, calm, dangerous. You know this may be your only chance to survive. So one night, under complete secrecy, you are smuggled into the palace to meet him. The room is dark except for candlelight. Caesar studies you carefully. You expect a conqueror. Instead, you meet someone far more terrifying. A man who understands power better than anyone alive. And for the first time in months, someone listens to you speak. Chapter 4. The War in Alexandria. The city explodes into chaos. Fighting erupts in the streets below the palace. Roman soldiers clash against Egyptian forces, while civilians flee between burning buildings. You hear screaming outside your chambers at night. Smoke fills the sky above Alexandria. The harbor burns so intensely that ashes drift across the sea like black snow. Then one morning, your brother's army collapses. The war is over. And once again, you are Queen of Egypt. Crowds gather outside temples chanting your name. Gold floods back into the palace. Music returns to the halls. The Nile delivers strong harvests again. For the first time in years, Egypt breathes. And besides Caesar, you begin to believe your kingdom might actually survive. Chapter 5. The most powerful woman on the earth. Life inside of the palace is almost dreamlike. The pillars of the palace are bigger than some sandhills in Alexandria. And you get to be the woman who gets to rule over ancient Egypt. Massive feasts stretch late into the night. Musicians play beside marble fountains. Servants carry silver trays overflowing with figs, wine, and roasted birds. Scholars travel from across the world just to stand inside Alexandria's libraries. And everywhere you go, people stare. Some see a queen, others see a threat. Because you are no longer just ruling Egypt, you are influencing Rome itself.
And then you're unfortunate enough to stumble upon Socrates. Instead of having a normal conversation, the first thing Socrates says to you is, if you are a queen of Egypt, then what are you without it? Instead of holding it back, you give him a taste of his own medicine. You tell him, if you're a Greek philosopher that questions everybody, well then what are you without it? Then you tie him up and send him back to Greece.
Soon, you give birth to a son, Caesarion. You hold him in your arms while looking out across the Mediterranean and imagine a future where Egypt and Rome rule together. But history does not allow peace for long. One morning, a messenger arrives from Rome. His hands are shaking. Caesar is dead. Chapter 6. The fall begins. Assassinated. Stabbed to death inside the Roman Senate. The strongest man on earth died surrounded by men he once trusted. Panic spreads through Alexandria instantly. Without Caesar, your protection vanishes. Rome tears itself apart again. New leaders rise from the chaos. Octavian, Mark Antony, and eventually, Mark Antony arrives in Egypt. Unlike Caesar, Antony feels reckless, emotional, explosive. Together, you build an alliance that terrifies Rome. But Octavian knows exactly how to destroy you. He turns the Roman people against Cleopatra. He tells them, Egypt wants control of Rome. Antony has betrayed his homeland. Cleopatra is manipulating the Republic itself. And soon, war becomes inevitable. Final chapter. The Last Pharaoh. The Battle of Actium begins beneath dark skies. Ships collide across violent waters while flaming arrows streak through smoke-filled air. The sea itself seems on fire, and slowly, your fleet begins to lose. Days later, Alexandria falls silent. Roman banners hang where Egyptian symbols once stood. The palace feels colder now, empty. You walk through its halls one final time while distant footsteps echo outside. Everything Egypt once was is ending. You know what Octavian plans for you, a prisoner, paraded through Rome in chains. You refuse. So in the final hours of your life, surrounded by fading candlelight in the ruins of a dying kingdom, you choose your own ending. And with your death, ancient Egypt dies too. The empire that built pyramids, worshipped gods, and ruled the Nile for thousands of years becomes part of Rome. But even centuries later, the world still remembers Cleopatra, not because she lived peacefully,
But because she stood against the rise of an empire and nearly changed history forever.